Msotraman, the local hero. He's easily the guy we've overlooked the most, but is incredibly talented. He's unique in his ways and raps and tells stories like the late Pro Kid. The boy has gone to cite the likes of Brenda Fassie, Michael Jackson, Nina Simone as artists have inspired him to pursue the music game. Let's jump in, boys. This is the story of Saudi. Saudi's birth name is Anel Mbishi. He's a hip-hop artist with a minor soulful singing influence. The boy was born and bred in the south of Johannesburg, in SA's largest location, Soweto. His interest in music originates from growing up in a family that loved music. The family had a vast collection of records ranging from the likes of Brenda Fassie, Michael Jackson, and Nina Simone again. These artists ignited a spark in him to pursue music as a full-time career. Okay, let's rewind a little and get into how it started for him. So the boy recorded his first song on an electric keyboard at the age of 13. It was in 2011 though, during his high school years, when Saudi officially took a step and joined forces with other young rappers. They created a crew. The crew was known as OVLOE, an acronym from Oz Music, Victory Lane, Over Everything. The collective assisted in building his skills as a rapper and a music producer. Saudi's musical skills developed. He created a fresh and unique sound in the efforts to define his style of music, naming it Japan 4. This sound is classified as a mixture of subtle R&B, mild trap influence, and a heavy alternative Afro sound. His music is not just beats though, or just lyrics, but it fuses its unconventional musical elements, contemporary sounds, a touch of ad-libs, tons of rhythm, and a finesse sense of local kwaito. This all gives you what you know as Saudi, a musical genius. So as Saudi continued to grow and finally figured out his sound, he decided to later join forces with award-winning record stable, Ambitious Entertainment. His addition to the stable helped him find himself even more. He became a key piece of the Ambitious puzzle. Saudi then went on to create a long list of catchy musical hooks to some of the greatest hits we've ever heard in SA, e.g. Wash Up by DJ City Lights, Couldn't Buy a Reese, Dreams, and Pray For Me. These stamped his authority in the game. He also featured on hit singles Ameni no Phumelela, both by Miss Prue. In the beginning of his career at Ambitious, Saudi released his debut single under the stable, There She Go. Remember that song? It played on your radio, TV, literally everywhere. You couldn't miss it. It was big. It actually eventually hit over 1 million views on YouTube, which is really crazy. A few months later, Saudi gave SA his first body of work titled Drugs Inc. Drugs Inc. is an acronym for Devil's Revenge Upon God's Servant Is Not Crime. It's the perfect way to sum up the rapper's views on his upbringing and life experiences. Drugs Inc. is Saudi's compilation that took his whole life to put together. It encompasses songs that were birthed from his own personal experiences. The masterpieces resemble the place he comes from and what led to all the things that have happened in his life and where he is today. I'm excited and relieved that all my hard work and dedication has resulted into me realizing my dreams, he says. Saudi says his dream is always to be a recording artist and to create and release an original and valuable body of work, which he's done, to be honest. I'm quite nervous about my release because I take my art more seriously than I take myself or anything else in my life. He said this just before dropping the album. The 16-track album includes features from award-winning artists MT and Sjava. And of course we all know MT has now already left the stable Ambitious Records. Changing lives, defining an era. Drugs Inc. Okay, let's get real a little. For me, this album wasn't pushed enough. I know I say it all the time, but this album was as good as Manando, an album by fellow stable artist at the time, MT. His album was however incredibly promoted by Ambitious. Maybe because he was the cash cow at Ambitious Records while he was still there, and of course everybody knew that MT was bringing in the money for Ambitious, so maybe that means Easy Mads pushed the guy that's bringing in the money. But Saudi's album wasn't. It wasn't pushed like that at all. But maybe it's because they didn't see him as a cash cow at that time and MT had all the glory. Yunus Java tweeted about how the game doesn't respect Saudi and what he has to offer, and it's true. Drugs Inc. was a South African story by a South African genius. Tracks like Duck D&D, Drip, Pull Up, and Gwala were songs that could have been pushed for radio and TV, and Saudi would have been out of here for real. The boys saw some dope songs through Bizboy, The Wonders, XLR, and Ruff. Ruff wasn't just only one of the producers though, he also happens to have mixed and mastered the entire album. He was the engineer for the whole thing. Okay, back to Saudi and the album. I think Saudi did his part. He came with some dope music and a solid sound. But if you have the album, you see something very small, a tiny error on track 2. They misspelled his surname on there. Now hear me out. Yes, it's a tiny mistake, but to me this indicates something about the label and the team behind it. I mean, this is a really big moment. It's an album. You've got to double check every single thing. Saudi brings the music, but the label doesn't really take care of him like they should, in my opinion. Call it what you may, but that's my stance on this album, and Saudi did his part. It's almost like he's doing this alone. But either way, the album is dope, bro. I'm not gonna get into deep about the album, and I'm just gonna leave it right there. Because luckily for you and I, we've got a brand new show coming up very, very soon where we'll get into albums that we think you should have heard. And this album happens to be on the first episode. Okay, let's move on to some big moves in the last year that the boy's done. So it's early 2018 and the boy released the news that he'll be featured on one of the biggest albums to be released in 2018. The Black Panther soundtrack. Now if you remember the time when Black Panther came out, it was a big time for the continent. So many artists from the country were featured on it and people knew that, now was the time for Africa and now was the time for South Africa. The track list came out and the title X by Kendrick Lamar features Saudi alongside 2 Chainz and Schoolboy Q. The song is engineered by one and only Mfana Futhi Raf Ngosi, an absolute legend. Let's give him his flowers, boys. Okay. This expanded his influence into the web though for Saudi, amassing thousands of fans across social media and music streaming platforms. The creative genius had created a mellow and soulful record inspired by the lack of loyalty in relationships. A dope joint. Okay, so Saudi is proving that being different and trusting one art can lead to massive success. Big shout to Saudi, and we all hope he continues to inspire the young kid in SA to live a life away from doing wrong. Something he preaches a lot about in his songs. Alright, that's all we got. Don't forget to flood the comment section and tell us who you'd like to see next on the stories. DJ Honcho SA on Twitter, Honcho SA on IG. I'm out.